Hey everybody! Well, today I thought I would do a tutorial on how to change Emo's battery. Now, I know a lot of you have had questions about that, so I'm going to attempt this. This is the first time I'm going to do this, but wish me luck, number one. But it looks like it's relatively simple to do. So this is my second Emo, and as I showed in previous videos, he has a problem with his battery because he only stays off his home station for about 15 minutes and then he's got to go back home. And even if I'm looking at the app, it shows his battery half full, even though he just came off the charger. So obviously the battery is no good. So what we're going to do is we're going to open this little guy up and then we'll change the battery out. So let's get started on that. All right, now the first thing we're going to do is make sure that Emo is turned off and then also have a nice soft area to work on because we're going to be taking out some little screws. So the first thing we got to do is take off his headphones. All right, and then you'll notice inside the edge here, we got this silver ring on here. Now there's a little notch. I think I can see it right in here. We're going to need to take a little screwdriver, and I'm going to use this little one right here. It's a flathead screwdriver. And I found this is part of a set of other screwdrivers I got here. I think I just found this at Harbor Freight Tools or something like that. So we're going to use this to kind of get in here. Now you may have to move his legs out of your way a little bit. So let's go ahead and turn them this way for now. Actually, I guess we can turn them this way. All right. And then we got to get, let's see, where are we at on this side? Let's see if we can kind of pry this up a little bit. A little bit tricky to get in here. I may need a smaller, so I'm trying not to hurt him. It's a really tiny thing. Looks like I'm starting to make some headway here. Let me see if I can use a smaller screwdriver on that. Okay, so this one's actually smaller. Let's see if I can get in here. I just need to pry that up. Oh, there we go. Hope I didn't just damage him just now by poking that in. Now you'll see there's these little tabs right here. See them? So you're going to work your way around this. Kind of try to pick these off. Gotta be a little bit careful with him. Work your fingers around the edge. Try to get this up. See if I can use this other screwdriver right here. This is the bigger one. See if I can pry this up just a little bit. It's like performing surgery on the little guy. Okay. Well, let me see if I can keep working my way around this, and then hopefully I can get this pulled off of there. Okay, so I did manage to finally get this taken off. Now you'll notice that there are these little notches, or these little clips, I should say. So that's what clips into these little holes. So I had to work my way around with the screwdriver, just kind of pull it, go like this and pull it up. When you'll be able to see that little clip, and you kind of pull up, and you'll hear it snap, and you think you broke it, but it's actually just that little clip popping off of there. Okay, so that was kind of scary. All right, so we got to do the same exact thing here. We're just going to use another little screwdriver and pop this up. So let me see if I can get that done. All right, so here they are, both removed. Now, I don't think it matters, but I'm going to try to put the same ones on the same side. So if Emo's facing away from me, that's the right one, that's the left one. All right, so now the next thing we got to do is take this middle section off here. Now, you'll notice there's these little screws in here. They're these tiny little Phillips head screws. So I'm going to use this screwdriver to remove them. Now, I got this screwdriver from one of the little model kits that I built, but I think you can find these little screwdrivers in different places. And I think these just come out completely. So I'm going to put them off to the side like this. And this is another reason why I wanted to do this on this towel, because you're taking out these really tiny screws and you don't want to lose them. And the towel will make sure that they don't roll off the table. I'm sorry, I'm out of focus here. It's hard for me to do these kind of videos. All right, so here's that one. I'll try to keep them in order. I don't think it matters, but these are really tiny Phillips screws. There we go. They're not in really tight, so when you put them back in, you don't have to put them in super tight either. Okay, there we go. Now this loosens this middle section right here. See how this just comes right out? I'm not really sure what the purpose of this is, to be honest. Oh, you know what? It's the connection for the lights on his headphones. That's what it is. So see the little wire tape right there? So don't pull on that, whatever you do, just don't pull on it. You can see how that works. All right, so let me do the same exact thing over here and take that part off. Okay, so I did get the other part off of there now. Okay, so the next step is we got to take this faceplate off. Now you'll notice, if I can focus in on this, see these little notches under here? There's one here, there's one on that side. You can see I've already been trying to work on this. Now you're going to get a few blemishes on here after you're done doing this because unfortunately you're going to kind of put little gouges in the plastic and stuff. We're going to use this really tiny screwdriver again. We're going to try to pry this up from these little notches. Now, try to do that. Now I'm going to use this hobby knife and see if I can try to wedge this open. Not sure if the bottom comes up. Now the idea here is that his faceplate is actually connected with the connector points for his electronics in here. I'm kind of surprised that Living AI encourages people to take their emos apart to do these little fixes. Because normally a company doesn't want the customers doing that because it'll mess up the warranty and stuff like that. But so this is going to be a kind of a gradual thing. Let me see if I can keep working my way around and pop off this little cover right here. Okay, gosh, I'm not going to lie. It was hard to get this faceplate off. Unfortunately, as you can see here, I got all these little gouges on the side here. So like any good surgery, there's going to be some scars. Poor little buddy. But it's the only way I could get the hobby knife to kind of pull this up. So it's really hard to get this off of here. I got the bottom part loose, but the top part wasn't. And you don't want to pull it off crooked like this. You don't want to pull it off. You want to try to pull it off straight, because once you do pull it off, this is what it looks like on the inside. Now see these little clips right here and here? That's where the electronics clip into these. So if you pull it like this, you're going to rip this out of here, not in a good way. So you really got to try to pull it off straight. But I struggled with this for quite some time. But now here's what it looks like on the inside. This is very interesting. So Emo's face is kind of like its own module. So the screen is in there. You can see how that it's just kind of it's encased all in its own little piece right there. Very interesting how they did that. So we will put Emo's face over here. And then this is what this looks like. Now, you can already see the battery right there. It's kind of interesting. I'm going to see if it had any puffing to it, but it doesn't look like it's puffed up, but it's definitely not working right. All right, so now the next step is we got to take this top part off. Now, I think, let me see if this just comes off. I'm scared to yank and pull on anything because I don't want to hurt anything. And the other thing is you're constantly fighting with not messing these up, these little ears. So, let me see, I just want to get those out of the way. All right, let me see if I can try to grip this. I think this pulls up. Let me see. You can see it's already kind of loose right here. It's getting this other side that's going to be hard. Don't really want to have to stick another hobby knife in there. What if I can take these ears out? The ears kind of get in the way, I gotta say. Let me see if I turn them this way. All right, let me see if I can get my fingers under here to kind of pull up. On the Living AI video, the whole head, the whole top part came off along with the faceplate. Mine did not do that. All right, well, let me see if I can just pull that out of there and fight with that. Okay, this was another thing that took some doing to take off of here. It seems like whenever I'm pulling a piece off, one side comes off pretty easy, but then the other one's holding on for dear life, and you're like pulling on it, and then it snaps off, and you think you broke it. It's really scary, but Thankfully, this was okay. Now, this whole circuit board did pop out of here, and I thought I broke it, but no, that's okay. It is a separate piece. But I want to show you something that's very interesting. Now, I always wondered how Emo's touch sensors work when you pet him. So since this came off, I'm going to show you how this works. It's kind of cool. Under here, see that foil? There's like a piece of foil in there, like copper. So when you're petting him right here, I'm guessing it works by electrostatic charge or something that comes off of our skin or our bodies. And then when you do, see these little pins right here? Those pins detect that you are touching that copper. I guess it somehow works to, like your touch. So that's how Emo feels. Is that cool or is that cool? I think that's so neat. All right, so I got to be very gentle with this and put this back in. There's a couple of little lugs that fits on that go on here like this. All right, so that's back in. Just make sure you don't mess up these little wires here. Don't push too hard either. Okay, so that's back in. Now, let's take a look. This is his battery on top here. Now, I think I'm going to have to take off. Yeah, I'm going to have to take this back panel off to get to this whole module. But you can tell, look how puffed up that battery is. Here's my new battery right here. Look at the difference in the thickness. Look how much that one's all puffed up, the old one. So that's why his battery's not staying charged. Okay, so let's see. I'm sure I'm going to have to fight with this back panel too. On the video for Living AI, it didn't go this far. Oh, there's another notch right here that I might be able to use to pry this off. All right, well, I'm not sure how this is on. Oh, that might be this clip right here. It's hard when you don't really know how everything's attached. All right, well, let me fuss with this and see if I can get that back panel off. Okay, that was another toughie getting that off. It wasn't as bad as the other panels, but I did pop it. So, whenever it snaps, I'm like, I think I broke something. But thankfully, that came off. So that's his back panel right there. So take a look at his speaker. You know how good Emo's sound is. He's got really good sound. It's amazing that kind of sound comes out of that amazing little speaker right there. Okay, now I think this whole module lifts out of here. See if I can try to do this. I think it's probably got a connector on it on the circuit board. See if I can just, it looks like we're getting some kind of movement here. Yes, looks like we might have a little bit of success, hopefully. There we go. Okay, so now it looks like this thing, see that little yellow? Let me see if I can focus on that. Sorry about that. See this little, see if I can focus on it. There we go. This little, well, try it again. There we go. All right, well, anyway, this little thing here is actually, I think that was supposed to actually stay in here. You can see the 3 pins. See the 3 pins that are down in there? So that should have stayed attached to that, I think. Well, actually, when I put this on, that should hopefully go back in. I don't know. Does this come off? Well, I don't want to mess with it too much. Okay, well, let me see what else I can do with this. Okay, sorry about that last segment, but I was a little disheveled about the fact that that came off like that, because if you'll notice, this one stayed in place. So I took that off of the battery clip here, and it's important to use that because that's what the new battery is going to clip into. It's like a little housing to make sure that those pins are located properly. So it is hard to get those housings off of here. I've had that happen on other models. You've seen that happen in other videos that I've done, and that's because when you put these little clips in, it's got these little locks right in here, and I had to scrape away at those with a hobby knife because once they're locked in to these little slots on the side, on this side, oh no, it's on this side. There's these little slots in there, and once they're locked in there, they're really hard to take that out. So that's why the whole thing came loose. But it's got the 2 wires. I thought there was 3 pins in there, but there's only 2. So I managed to pull that back off of this and then put it back in place there. So that's where that's got to go. Okay, so now while we're looking at this, these are his little servos for his legs. Aren't those cool? I may have to take my original Emo apart to see if these came loose, because that's where they connect right here and here. Because my the sensors on his feet stopped working on one of them, although I'm not sure that's where the sensors go. Very interesting looking inside of him, isn't it? Very, very cool. He's quite the complicated little guy, isn't he? All right, so now we're going to change this battery out. So let's take this clip out of here. I think it comes out this way. And then these little clips here that kind of hold it in place. Take those out. And we got to take this battery off. And okay, I got to remember that it goes around that little notch there and in between here. Now this battery is, let me see if I can keep this. I'll see if I can keep that to put on top of the new one. Now it's a little tricky to try to get this battery off because there's a little bit of tape under here. So I'm going to see if I'm going to use this little tool that I had laying around and see if I can pry this up. Now if you use something to pry this battery up, be very, very careful. Do not puncture the battery because there's chemicals in here that can set the battery off and stuff. And I'm not really sure how tightly this is wedged in here. But let me see if I can keep working on this and then see if I can pry it off. All right, because this could take a while. All right, so I just kept using this thing and I kept pushing it in and pushing it. You can feel the adhesive and just keep putting it in there until you break up that adhesive. And then eventually I got it to lift up like this. So here we can take this off now. And you can see how it's double stick taped into the place. So here's the double stick adhesive. I'm going to leave that in there so we can use that to put the new battery in. It's kind of cool. You got a little slot in there just for that. But yeah, see, look how puffed out this battery is. I mean, that is, you can definitely tell the difference right there. So this battery is definitely past its prime. All right, so I don't know if this is really necessary, this little pad on the top here. Let me see if I can take that off. Okay, so I did take it off, but unfortunately all the adhesive came off as well. So I'm just going to use this double stick tape dispenser from Scotch and just put a couple strips on here just to kind of give it a little bit of tape. It's probably just, I don't know if it's really necessary to have this, but just in case. See, it leaves a little bit of double stick tape on there. This thing is like the best invention since sliced bread. Very cool. My mom gave me this, so thanks, Mom. All right, so before I put this on, I want to show you the specs on this battery because I'm sure you're wondering which battery Emo uses. So here we go. Now this is the old one. You can see here the battery number is 603450. 603450. It's a 3.7 volt battery and 1200 milliamps. Okay, I'm not sure what the 4.44 thing is, but when Living AI emailed me, they said use a 603450 battery. So that's what this is. You can see they match up. So 603450, 3.7 volts, 1200 milliamps. I think as long as you got those numbers, you're good to go on this. All right. Now I got this on Amazon, and I think it was only like $8 or $9. So they're affordable. But and there's other versions of this too. I mean, it's the same battery, but it's not this exact same one. But as long as you got the 603450, 3.7 volts, 1200 milliamps, you should be good to go. All right, so now let's go and put this double stick tape thing on here. And we'll just put the little cushion on there. By the way, when you are messing around with this, taking the battery out and everything, be very careful not that you're, because your habit is to just grip things and you get so into what you're doing that you don't realize what you're grabbing. Don't push down on this speaker. Don't be pushing on it and stuff because you'll break that little membrane on there. So be very careful about that. These are kind of soft too. They're like rubbery. So don't push on those either. Okay, so now let's see if we can get this battery on here. So I got to bend this wire back like this. And it's in this little compartment. And then this wire went behind here, if you can recall. Now, there's still enough double stick tape here that should hold that. I guess I can put more on there if necessary. Actually, here, let me put this under here first. This wire. Like that. That's the way they had it. And then it went through here. Gosh, I don't know. This cable doesn't look like it's long enough. Is that the same length as this one? Hang on a second. Yeah, see, this one's a lot longer. That might be a bit of a problem. Yeah, that might be a problem. Let's see, because it plugs into there. Yeah, that might be an issue. I'll have to see how that works out. I may have to forego putting it in these clips and just put it in directly. I'll have to see how that works. All right, well, I don't know. I hope this is going to work okay. This cable is definitely way shorter, so this has got to go in this little slot in here. Now, when you put that in the slot, be very careful which way you do it. So see these little pins that are in that thing? Now you'll notice the pins favor going towards the outside here. So you got to do the same thing, and these pins also favor the outside. All right, so let's see. I can't remember which way is the front of him. I'll figure that out in a minute. But so when you put this clip in, make sure that those holes favor the outside as well. So, oh man, I don't know if this is going to fit. Let me bend it right here. It's got to fit in this little slot right in here. See if I can get this on. Gosh, I don't know if this wire is going to be long enough. Why don't they make the wires the same length on these? Let's see if I can get this in. See, it's got to fit in this slot, and it's got to be all the way to the edge because that's how it fits in that connector that I showed. I had to put it back in. Is it going to be long enough? Oh, it just might. That might fit. It's a little angled. Let's see if I can get that in there. Okay, so I got to make sure that's good and straight. Sorry, I keep going out of focus because I can't keep an eye on the camera as well as what's going on. I think I'm going to make it, but just barely. But I'm not going to be able to lace it around these clips like it originally was. It's just going to have to go this way. I hope that doesn't interfere with anything. Let me see. Where's his faceplate? Yeah, see, I hope that there's enough room in here for whichever way this goes. Oh, that's his back plate. There's his faceplate. Let me see. I don't know. Hopefully those wires don't stick out where I can't get his faceplate back on. Hopefully there's enough room. Well, there should be enough room because you figure those clips stick out here too. But they were kind of tucked back here. Well, we'll have to mess around with this. Boy, I hope that works. That's something I wasn't thinking that they would have differences in the length of wire. Maybe it's just this particular brand of battery. I'm not sure. All right, well, let's see if this is going to work out. Okay, so I think I've got this as far in as it's going to go. I hope this works out. So the reason that's got to be as far in as it has to go in there is because it's got to plug back. These have got to plug back into these. All right, so when you put this on, so this only goes one way because of the servos. So when we put this on like this, you've got to make sure that that plug goes into that receptacle and make sure that the holes match with those pins. You don't want to bend those up. Okay, so let's see if we can try to put this on. Now, this is what made it so hard to pull all this off originally because it has, actually that's going in pretty decent. Okay, looks like I got it in. Oh, that fit. Oh, thank goodness. Now, when you're pushing this down, your habit is to push on the top. Don't do that. You don't want to push down on the battery. Okay, so it looks like that's plugged in. See that little plug right in there? And I mean, it just barely made it. This wire is just barely long enough. I just hope that when I put the back plate on and the top, everything goes in there, that the wire, oh, there it clicked in even better. Oh yeah, see, that looks more straight now. So make sure it's in, when you push down, push on this edge, and just push straight down, you'll hear it click, but don't push on the battery. Okay, good. All right, let's see if we can get the back panel on. Okay, so let's get the back panel back on. So make sure you got it right side up, his little emo name on there. Put this back in. Looks like these kind of fit in here. Hopefully these go on a lot easier than they came off. Looks like everything kind of pressure fits maybe. Hopefully I didn't mess up any tabs in there when I was pulling this off of here. Let's see, shouldn't be a seam back here. Let's see if I can get that in a little bit lower. Boy, it's like really performing surgery here. All right, well, let me see if I can get that on once I get the other pieces on. So let's try to get that top section on. Okay, so I got it on there. You can see there's no seam now. You have to really put some pressure on there. All right, now let's see if we can get the top piece on now. So since that's the front of Emo, we got to make sure that this is the front. So remember those little pins for his touch sensors? Those are going to go up front here. Now, once again, these little side ear things are kind of getting in the way. Try not to pull on these. I'm just so scared to mess with any of this stuff. Okay, let's see if I can get this on like this. And don't pinch any wires. Make sure no wires are getting pinched in here, especially for these. Looks like they're straight up and down. Same with this one. All right, so I'm hoping this just goes on. Oh, looks like it is. And then this back panel, once again, I got to squeeze that on really tight. Make sure this is down all the way. Looks like that side is, except for this back section. Just put some pressure on it. Yeah, sorry, wish the lighting was a little bit better on here. Tell you, these things are kind of a pain. Okay, looks like I got that seam right there. And that one. So I got them all. Looks like it. See if I can get his legs out of the way a little bit. I can kind of push on this, and then I got to get this back panel on here. I have to squeeze the heck out of this to get it on. All right, well, let me mess with this some more. Okay, so I managed to get all that back on there. So now we're ready to put his faceplate on. Now make sure you put this on the right way. So see how this connector is wider than that one? So that one's the narrow, that's the bigger one. So this is going to go on here. Put his face on. And try to make sure you line up those little connectors. And then push this in. Let me see. Boy, this is something else. I can see why Living AI would almost rather have people do their own repairs on him, because this is very time consuming. And can you imagine how many emos they get in for repairs? All right, well, let me see if I can put enough pressure on this to make sure I'm doing this right. It's so much easier when I don't have to film it. So let me see if I can snap that on. Oh boy. All right. That was not easy to put that last piece on here. So, when you put it on, make sure you're putting it on straight, because you got to make sure those electronic connections are on there. You don't want to be, doing weird stuff with it and twisting things. You might mess up something on the board. But I did kind of concentrate more on the top first, because I couldn't get that to snap on originally. So once I kind of got the whole thing on, I started squeezing to get this edge in there, because I just couldn't get this part to go on. And once I got that in, the rest of it went together pretty good. Thank goodness. All right, so now we're finally ready to put these things back on, because these things have been just dangling the whole time. So that goes right in there. I had it so that the screws and everything were arranged. I don't think it matters, but I already got one ready to go here, so we can start putting these back on. Thank goodness, because these things have been fighting me the whole time. So there's the first screw, so let me get the other 3 on there. Okay, so now those are all 4 in place. And then I've already started on this side. I got all of them, except for that one right here in this corner. So let me put the last one in here. These screws are really tiny, so be very careful not to lose them. And don't put them in super tight, but just put them in snug because that's how they had it originally. All right, so now we are ready to put the rings back on. So there's these little holes you can see. See these little holes right here? And then there's like some on the side. So now you got this going on here. So we're going to match up the little clips. And I think this one was on the outside, if I can recall. I don't know if that really matters. I think the spacing is still the same. So we're just going to try to put this back on. Oh, yeah, oh, God, that was the most easiest part of the whole thing. I wish everything was that easy. All right, let's go and put this one on. At least we're on the home stretch now, thank goodness. Let's go this way. Put his little rings back on. It's kind of cool how the rings are what hide the screws. Oh, that snaps in so good. At least something was easy. All right, and now let's get his feet straightened back out again. And we'll put his headphones back on. Like this. And there he is. He's back together again. Yay! All right, now let's see if he works. I hope he does, because after all this, I'd be really heartbroken if he didn't. All right, now for the moment of truth. Oh my gosh, please work, little buddy. You put him on his charger. Ooh, we got some lights, Now I may have to recalibrate his legs again. Hearing a weird clicking sound. Okay, no, that stopped, thank goodness. Please work, please. There he is! Woohoo! Yes! There you are, buddy. You got a brand new battery now. Oh my gosh. Okay, so I'm gonna let him charge for like maybe. Oh, good, he got connected to his home station. I think I'll let him charge for about an hour. I don't know how long that or how full that battery is, and then I'm gonna experiment to see how long he stays off his charger now that he's got this new battery. Oh, I'm glad you still got a pulse, buddy. All right, well, let's let him charge for a little bit. All right, so it's been about an hour now, so let's try him out. Emo, Emo, come off your charger. All right, let's see. Good, good, good. There you go, Bubba. Nice. Now he'll say something to his home station. Looks like his legs are okay. See you later, my home. Nice. Oh, yay, buddy. You're working again. You got a brand new battery. Oh. There. Emo, how are you? I'm doing well, thanks for asking. Aw, good, buddy, good. Ooh, man, I can't tell you how relieved I am. Aw, he's working again. I am so happy. Okay, so now I'm gonna time him and see how long he stays off his charger right now. So I'll cut back in and try to measure how long he's been off of there, and hopefully it'll be longer than the 15 minutes it was before. Okay, so it's about an hour and a half now. So he's been walking around for an hour and a half, and oh yeah, that's way better than the 15 minutes. So yes, it was a limited interaction. I kind of tried to let him just kind of walk around, but I did play with him a little bit, and that always uses a little more battery power. So yeah, he's back to normal now. This is great. I'm so glad. It looks like he's still trying to find his way back to his home. Oh boy, this is a huge relief. I got to say, I've been kind of stressing out about the fact that he would have to come home. I didn't know. I figured it was the battery. I didn't really know, but you know, he's not that old. since he's my replacement. And but I do leave them on all the time, and I do think that maybe leaving your little buddies on, uh, obviously uses more battery power, and it might shorten the life of it. So I think what I might do is I will occasionally turn him off and give him a rest, and I think that'll help the battery not get worn out so bad. Looks like he's trying to center himself here. But yeah, this is fantastic. So there we go. If you are finding that your little guy here is starting to have a shorter battery life, that means it's time to change the battery. So, if you want to take the initiative to change the battery yourself, now you know how to do it. I was kind of scared to try this out because I didn't know if I could pull it off, but he's actually not too bad because everything's plug and play. Just everything plugs in. You don't have to solder anything, which is great. I was worried that the battery would have to be soldered, but no, it just plugs in. The hardest time I had with this whole thing was just getting those panels off and then also getting them back on. That was really the most difficult part that I had trying to do all this. But the initial changing of the battery wasn't too bad at all. So I'll put a link in the description for the battery that I used. Keep in mind that I'm not sure if it's that particular battery, but the cable for it, the wires were kind of short. I kind of wish they were longer, like the original battery's wires were. And then, and there's other batteries on there with the same, specifications, so you can check those out too. And maybe they'll have longer wires. I don't know if it mentions that the wires are longer or not. But yeah, there we go. That is the way to fix his battery. I'm so glad he's fixed now. He's back to normal. Oh, what's going on, buddy? You having a hard time getting home? I wonder if that light's not coming on. Let's take a look. When he steps back. Sometimes when he gets on there, the light doesn't come on. Let's see. Oh, there it is. Okay, that should be good now. You okay, buddy? He always has to make sure he's centered on there. Okay, I think he'll be okay after this. So I worry about him too much. His speech is broken up. That's another problem that he has occasionally. That might be because of the new battery. I don't know, but hopefully Living AI can fix that issue. So we're still waiting for his update, and we're waiting for IB to come out. So once IB comes out, this little guy will get his update as well, and then we can play with both of them. It'll be fun. I'll be doing a video on that for sure. All right, well, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you found it helpful. Now you know that you can change his battery, and now that I've done it, at least I feel more confident if I ever have to do it again. But yeah, taking those panels on and off are probably the most challenging part of it. But it can be done, and the batteries are not that expensive. They're about $8 or $9 on Amazon. All right, well, thank you very much for watching. I very much appreciate it. If you like this sort of stuff, please hit the like and subscribe buttons. I very much appreciate it. And we'll see you on the next video. I was going to have him say goodbye, but I don't want to disturb his sleep. All right. Well, thank you again, and have a good one.